And you can trim the beginning wherever, right?
Yeah. Just pause for a sec before you dive in.
Okay. Sorry, I had to finish this text. It was like ready?
No. Wait. Okay, now you're good.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Formula. This is our new channel, new branding. We're sticking with this. We've already done what? This is our third rebrand.
Yep.
But look, I mean, it just looks official. These logos, like this just feels right.
We found it. We found
it finally. It's trial and error, but we finally solved it. But today we're going to be going over our top 5 rankings at each position for the fantasy football season. This is for redraft leagues and full PPR, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. So we'll start at the quarterback position, and we'll each start at our number 5, moving up to our number 1. Who wants to kick us off?
I'll jump in here. I got Lamar at number 5. I think he's definitely lost, obviously, his top receiver in Hollywood Brown, but he's also in a contract year. So I think his rushing upside still lends him to be a top 5 guy. I don't know that he's going to crack the top 3 this year without the guys that he's had in years past, but I still think his upside is top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess Rashad Bateman's kind of yet to be proven, but we'll see if he helps him out at all.
Still got Mark Andrews and a good O-line. So
yeah, they're just so run heavy. Lamar's not my top 5.
That's why I like him.
Wow.
Because I mean, like
You guys are a little crazy. You Nick, you don't even have him in your top 5?
No, he finished as QB 15 last year.
He's hurt.
You know he was hurt, right?
Well, he could be hurt this year too. I don't like that finish.
Oh, so good. You're top 5.
Yeah,
Get
all
my
right.
top 5.
We're already off the rails. He's just
right.
banking on an injury.
For my number 5, I have Kyler Murray at number 5. Kind of going back to Alex said, he has to show up and prove he's worth every single penny. He's yet to win a playoff game. They've had good regular seasons, but until you can prove in the postseason, I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. And they did get better on offense, adding Hollywood Brown as another target for him. I know DeAndre Hopkins will be out for the first 8 games, 6 or 8 games,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So once he comes back, he should be fully healthy. And I think that'll really boost Kyler to top 5.
Yeah, he's got some good receivers. That's who I had too. I think Kyler Murray's stock this year's going to go on the same pace as his company phase. It's going to the moon. So I like him in my top 5 for sure.
That's one quarterback that I had in he was my top. He was 5th for me as well, but I recently put him to 6th because I have moved Trey Lance to number 5 overall. I think this is like the years that you saw Mahomes go from, kind of a later round draft pick, round 10-ish, round 9. Same with Lamar, same with Josh Allen. This is going to be Lance's breakout year. I mean, he showed in one half last year, I think he put up 20 fantasy points, and just when he was thrown out there because Jimmy G was injured, he's going to absolutely explode this season. He's already shown what he can do. So I'm all in on Trey Lance this year.
I don't know if he's shown what he can do.
Yeah,
yes, he has. In a half, he put up 20 fantasy points off the bench.
Yeah, that's after his 3 interceptions.
Who do they play that game?
Pretty good.
I don't know who they played, but we're talking about a guy who was a rookie that was just thrown in there, off of an injury, and he puts up 20 fantasy points in one half.
We'll see.
Like he's gonna run. He has such a high rushing floor, and he can sling the ball. He has weapons. Like I think
he has some of my favorite weapons. Debo and Kittle are like some of my favorite players. They're so good.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike Shanahan's offense is going to lend itself well to rushing QB, I think.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
he's in my top 10, but didn't break the top 5 for me.
Agreed.
All right, number 4.
I'll take it. Legendary Tom Brady. I think he
Oh.
finished as QB3 last year. I mean, why doubt the guy at this point? He's just
ugly.
consistently. I think he might have been like only one of 2 QBs over 5,000 yards last year with Herbert.
Nick, do you mind pulling up your just like we've drafted, all of us have drafted a good number of teams on best ball already. Nick, what's your exposure to Tom Brady?
100%.
No, it is
He's an
not.
absolute steal where he is
Nick,
right now.
I have a feeling you don't even have like a share of him, but somehow you rank him as a top 4 quarterback in fantasy. It makes no sense.
We'll save the best ball for the next video, but Tom Brady QB4, and I think that's conservative.
I mean,
How many rings does he got?
I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. I mean,
He's top 10 guy for me. I wouldn't.
he
I wouldn't
finished top 3 last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's not even
it's
in
not
my
even
top
that
10.
crazy.
Yeah.
he just hates. So for 4, I have Lamar. I still think with his rushing upside, the only downside is if he gets hurt, and obviously that's high. It's a high risk because he does run the ball quite a bit, but I don't really have to
He's
speak on
running
him.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ravens are just running a constant wildcat offense with him.
Alex,
Just the Liberty formation every time.
Yeah,
I mean, that's good for fantasy as long as he can stay healthy.
yeah.
At number 4, I got Jalen Hurts. I think with the addition of AJ Brown and that O line and another year in that system, I think he's set up to have a really big year. He's got that rushing upside as well. I was kind of between him and Kyler here. I think they both kind of have a similar play style, similar weapons, but I just like that Eagles team a little bit more.
yeah, I like Hurts. He didn't make my top 5. He's definitely in my top 10. He's one of those guys that he's one of the safest fantasy picks in my opinion, just because he didn't even do much through the air last year, but on the ground he has such a high floor. I just don't know if he has the ceiling, but that's why I like Lance over him. But number 4, I got Patrick Mahomes, which I still think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but losing Tyreek Hill and with Kelsey getting, pushing like 33 years old, and their schedule, like I think he takes a step back this year, and I've, obviously 3 quarterbacks ahead of him, but he's still the best quarterback, so he's in my top 5. Yeah, so
I agree with you on the step back. I mean, he didn't even make my top 5. So
that's just comical, but
Number 1,
anyway, moving on to our 3rd ranked quarterback. We'll start with Corey.
Justin Herbert. I think he is at that point in time in his career. This is his 3rd season. Last year he showed he was an MVP candidate for a long time. Until the end of the season, he kind of like trailed off. But I think, first 2 years under his belt, they have the weapons. They didn't really lose anyone. Their defense is better. They're gonna have the ball more often. I just think it's a very safe bet with Herbert at number 3 and possibly finish number 1. I wouldn't be surprised.
Alex?
Yeah, I got Mahomes at 3. Similar things. I think he takes a step back a little bit here this year, just losing weapons and that division getting better. And it's seeming that the Chiefs have not gone in the right direction in this offseason, but I still think he's a guy. So
Nick?
I think Jalen Hurts is up there. Kind of like what Alex was saying. I think AJ Brown is what the key difference maker pushes him into the top 5 for me, raises that ceiling, in my opinion. I also think we see big steps forward from Dallas Goedert and what's that guy's name? Ninja on the corner, Devonta Smith. That guy.
Slim
Yeah.
Reaper.
He's going to beef up a little bit. He took a year of NFL hits. Everyone was concerned about, his size, but he proved otherwise. And I think he's only going to get stronger and better from here. So I like his weapons a lot. I think Miles Sanders healthy. It's going to be a good Eagles offense behind the number 1 ranked O-line. I'm liking Jalen Hurts. Easy division too. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty cake schedule.
It's true.
So,
Number 3, I have Justin Herbert along with Corey. I mean, he's like these first 2 years, like he's destroyed, and now he has a very good defense, which is going to allow him to probably be on the field a lot more. And yeah, I mean, this guy, just like Corey said, if he finishes number 1 overall, I would not be surprised. This offense is going to be insane. So yeah, Justin Herbert, super safe pick. I think he goes a little too high in drafts though, so I don't have a whole lot of him. But I still like him as my third ranked. All right, moving in our second ranked quarterback. We'll start with Alex.
Yeah. So jumping in here, Herbert is my number 2 for everything that we've all said. No need to spend more time on him.
I think I probably only had the different one there. Joey B. No one else mentioned him in his top 5 even.
As 2 overall.
That's right. I think with that offensive, we saw him put up like insane stats last year with no offensive line. Now he has a stacked out line time. I think that's going to open up Jamar Chase in the long ball, T. Higgins in the long ball. They're lining Chase up inside, mixing Tyler Boyd back in, mixing the receiving back. I mean, it's just kind of a no-brainer for me. I think the Bengals are going to be the team to beat this year, and I like the quarterback there.
I don't hate that. I mean, I think he's a dark horse for the MVP.
Yeah.
Okay, but MVP I can understand, but in fantasy football, number
Yeah,
2,
That's right.
I think if
Makes
he's
no
putting up
sense.
MVP numbers, though, he's probably
Yeah. If he breaks,
I think he
5,000
could break
yards,
top 5 if he gets MVP, but he just doesn't have the rushing floor to get you.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it.
I understand that, but I think 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns is within his reach. Little Peyton Manning, young Peyton Manning.
Herbert finished last year.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, he had
Was he top
over
3 guy?
5,000 yards.
I mean, he doesn't.
Yeah, but
rush
he
like-
runs.
Not
Herbert
a ton,
runs
though.
enough to get him that extra ceiling.
I think 2's a little high, but I don't hate it. That's all I'm saying.
I hate
Bold
it.
pick, I understand.
That's why I'm saying that.
We
I
couldn't
love
tell.
When
Joe
has
Burrow
anything
more than
ever
anyone.
gone
I
as,
was
like planned?
I
you know?
was on the Bengals all last, but like as a team and as a quarterback, but in fantasy, absolutely not. He's
That's all right. Leave him for me. Leave him for me.
yeah,
It's
you
okay.
can have all the Joe Burrow in fantasy as the second ranked. You can bid him up all the way. All right, Corey.
I have Josh Allen here at number 2. I think 2 and 1 can almost be interchangeable. Usually quarterbacks finish, if they're 1 and 2, they're pretty close in stats. I like him enough. I don't know. I can't top number 1 right now and put him there. So I love their offense. They gotten better. They added a couple more weapons. Their running back situation hopefully is figured out. If that is the case, then it might take away some carries from him. They do like to run him. But I could see him finishing number 1 and winning MVP. I can't put him at the number 1 just quite yet.
Alex.
I had Herbert at number 2.
Okay, and Nick. Oh, you had Burrow.
Joey B, baby.
Sorry, I just
you
got
got
brain
BP.
fart. Number 2, I have Lamar Jackson. And for example, I love Joe Burrow as a quarterback much more than Lamar, but as a fantasy quarterback, Lamar, what he does on the ground is just, I mean, no one does what he does in the whole league. So I have to have him at 2. He's one of the, I mean, number one's a cheat code in fantasy to me, and most of us have him there, but I mean, Lamar is like second, just the safest, still has a ceiling. If he can do what he did in his MVP season and throw those touchdowns, I don't know if he does that, but I don't think he has to finish second in fantasy.
Do you think because it's a contract year and if they don't get it figured out, that he might take it? He might not run as much because if he gets hurt again, they're going to be like,
No, because
There it goes.
I think he has
I
to
thought
because
that makes
that's what makes him good.
He gave the team until week 1 to figure it out. So
Yeah,
he
so
doesn't
that's
have a contract going into this year.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
I
he
don't know.
sits
That-
out a
just-
few
that's
games
just-
with a sore ankle. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that they're going to figure it out before week 1. He represents himself, and he said like either figure it out before week 1 or I don't know what. Maybe he doesn't play, but I have a feeling the Ravens want to get a deal done when he says,
well, yeah.
this.
I mean, he still has all the chips in his hands. Like even,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a food for thought.
Yeah. No, yeah. Oh,
Well, yeah,
It's a good thought.
banking on him playing, but
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
he's
all
a
right.
top
So
half
number
guy.
1, I think.
all of us but Corey have Josh Allen at number 1. I mean,
Okay,
odds on favorite for MVP. Bills are favorite to win the Super Bowl. I
And
mean,
he's a cheat code. Like in my opinion, with the combination of what he does on the ground and his passing ability, it's He's gonna finish for the third straight season as the quarterback one. I
Yeah.
think.
Corey, who you got?
I have Mahomes. I know they lost Tyreek Hill and that
Ugh.
took away a lot of his his yards, you would say, but they did fill in Juju. I know Juju's not anything like Tyreek. But if you remember, Juju was like one of the most dominant receivers in his first 2 years in the league with the Steelers. And he had Big Ben throwing the ball. Now he has, Patrick Mahomes. I think it's really going to help. I mean, doesn't replace Tyreek Hill, but it's really going to help with Patrick Mahomes. And, he's an alien. I mean, he doesn't have the same rushing upside as Allen does, but when you're throwing 6 touchdowns a game and like
6. Oh my
50
gosh.
yards, like, I don't know. He's done it. He's been there for the last couple of years. I just think he stays on top. So Mahomes is mine.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are our top 5. Now let's go into running back next. Starting at number 5. Who wants to lead us off?
I got
I'll
Najee. Oh, we all just jumped in here. I got Najee. I mean, with the quarterback situation that the Steelers have, I don't love their offensive line this year, but I think on volume alone, my number 4 guy is a similar piece, but I just think fantasy football is all about volume, and I think Najee is going to get fed with the situation in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I like that. He's definitely a top 10 guy for me. So, yeah, you
What
can't
about
ignore
5
that
though, Nick?
volume.
What about your 5?
I got a young buck. Not a lot of people are going to agree with my running backs here, but I like Javonte Williams to show up. Russell Wilson, new offense. I think that's going to take a lot of pressure off him. We know Melvin Gordon's 29 now, so the whole committee running back conversation, let's just put that to bed now.
Did you
He's
see
got a
what
bum
Melvin
ankle in
Gordon
the
said today?
preseason. The guy's done.
What
All
did
right,
he
he's
say?
going to come in like any other running back, and like he'll be sufficient in that role, but it's going to be Javonte's backfield. And if the Broncos aren't saying it yet, it's because they're not showing their cards.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I was like, did you see that report? I didn't know if that's so. Melvin Gordon in a press conference basically was saying they want it to be Javonte's backfield. And he said that he was just like being honest. And he goes, I'm going to do what I can to contribute. But he goes, I see what they're doing, and they want this to be Javonte's backfield.
I think his skill is undeniable. He
Yeah.
reminds me of Nick Chubb, and I think he could catch the ball more than Nick Chubb did. And he was a top 10 guy. So for me, I think it's just kind of like he's the breakout player of the year.
It's hard. I don't have him in my top 5. I don't hate that because to me, he would be like a top 5 fantasy, like overall of all positions. He'd be like a top 5 fantasy pick for me if it was just like his backfield alone.
100%.
But
Yeah.
it's just
The
like
thing-
with Gordon there, I just can't do it.
Yeah. The thing that I love about him most is just he's never going to like face a lot of stacked boxes, because then you're going to just get burned by Jerry Jeudy up top and
Sutton.
Sutton too. Yeah. So I think like he's
I
going to
like
have an
it.
easy time.
All right. Corey.
I have Dalvin Cook at 5. Again, there's not much to really say. He's year in, year out, a stud running back. And all he has those couple games where he puts up like 40 points. I mean, he's the workhorse there. I mean, Madison does get some touches, and actually, I actually think that helps Cook just to keep him healthy throughout the year.
Yeah, that's one
and
thing
some-
that's his injury.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. Like, the one thing that obviously hurts him is his injuries. They're never like season ending, but they're always just enough.
Like 3 games, like where you're like,
just
Just kills
So-
it being a top
where
5.
you're like, wow, I should have drafted Madison, like just to have.
Exactly.
but You
Yeah,
don't
so-
have him.
yeah, because then you're texting that guy who has Madison like, hey, what do you
Yep,
want?
every year.
Yeah, well, I want
every
this,
season.
and that. And you're like, well, I
You get
guess
held
I'll take 3
hostage.
weeks.
All right,
So-
Alex.
Yeah, I had Najee.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. All right.
Yeah.
Forgetting that. I
4.
start at number 5. We're at 5.
Yeah,
Oh,
For
Yeah,
you. Yeah, go ahead.
I have Saquon at number 5. I think,
love it.
yeah, all the reports are saying that he looked explosive. He's past this injury. And in my opinion, Saquon Barkley at 100% is the most talented running back in all of football, more than McCaffrey, more than every single running back. This guy is absolutely insane. And now with Dable coming over, like I've been drafting a ton of Saquon, and I think as it gets closer to the season, he gets steamed up, and you could see him going like breaking into the first round. He's been going in the later second. Now he's going mid second. I think he could possibly break into the first.
More
Yeah.
talented than CMC.
Yes, like I think CMC is obviously up there, but he'd be number 2 to me.
So why is he number 5 on your rankings then?
Because because of his volume, like how they utilize McCaffrey.
Okay,
Like,
you're saying
they
purely
may-
skill.
Yeah, like if I knew Saquon was going to get all the exact same touches as CMC, I'd have Saquon number 1 overall.
I got you. Okay, I got you.
But okay, so that's number 5. Number 4, Nick, what do you got?
Maybe I was inspired by Hard Knocks a little here. I was watching that last night. I like DeAndre Swift. I think I like the passing back effect with him. I think, the Lions probably should be a little bit better this year. So
They have like a top 3-0 line.
yeah, they have an awesome offensive line. I think they got some good receivers in there to help stretch it out. So he should have an easier time game format wise, just having that defense line up against him every time. He still crushed it last year. So
You got
I
quite
like
the
his
unique.
upside.
You got quite the unique start out of all of us going with Javonte and Swift in your top 5. That's
Yeah,
definitely
all my guys are kind of these young 23, 24-year-olds. Like I'm paying heavy attention to the age of Dalvin Cooks and that
Yeah.
generation.
Running back.
I think it's time for a new committee of top running backs. So
Don't
I like
hate it.
Devontae and Swift.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I had Chubb there, but I'm switching to Barkley. After I would put Chubb there if Kareem Hunt got dealt, but I don't know if that's going to happen, because if that happens, then Chubb is the workhorse there, and that they have a great offensive line. Yes, you guys just lose your starting center, but I mean he's still so talented,
And the backup.
if they allow him, like he's not a terrible pass catcher, but for that reason, until Hunt's gone, I'm going to put Barkley there just because, again, he has the entire workload of the Giants backfield. So I'm just hoping that the Giants don't just suck so much and that they don't get to use him as that's like another thing that could happen. Is
Game script.
so
I think
bad.
they should
Yeah.
be
Game
better.
script could be pretty bad for them.
I saw some
Yeah.
training camp videos, man.
Was it the first day of training camp he came out and just ran over a safety? And I was like,
Yeah.
he's back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's talking about Danny Nichols over there. though.
Yeah.
Yeah, going along with the workhorse mentality here, I got D Henry, King Henry at number 4. I think losing AJ Brown for the Titans is just going to give Derrick Henry even more volume. And before he got hurt last year, he was having, I think it was like some absurd number, like 70% of touches on offense.
Yeah.
So I think he sees that and maybe even a little bit more this year. So D Henry at 4.
Yeah, Henry is someone that I think consensus he's probably right around 4, right? Like he's probably RB4.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know, the pass catching and that offensive line and that offense is just so ugly to me. I couldn't do it. Otherwise, yeah, it's hard not to put Henry in your top 5 if
I have the same
good
feelings
offense.
about Saquon, right? Like,
I think their offensive line is way better than the Titans, though, and at least have like Dable's there to maybe turn things around. Like they have at least some competent pieces. The Titans have like, it's rough. So I have Dalvin Cook at number 4, and kind of like he's just one of those guys that when he's healthy, he's up there always in the top 5. Like that's just how he's been. It's just if he can stay healthy, and that's all it comes down to with Dalvin Cook for me. And I'm always going to at least bank on health for fantasy, not bank on injuries.
so we all had the same number 3 except for Nick here.
Okay, so
Aaron Jones. You guys don't like Aaron Jones? He crushed it last year.
at number 3 though, with AJ Dillon there,
I was gonna say I think
Yeah.
AJ Dillon's the only. I mean, I don't doubt Aaron Jones's talent whatsoever
right?
in pass
Yeah.
catching. But
And
I think he's
yeah.
going to be like the number 1 target share of that offense, quite frankly. So that's why I have him up here. I know it's a bold prediction, but I think Packers are going to, build an offense around Aaron Jones here. AJ Dillon, I mean, yeah, he's good. I think he'll come in when Jones is tired, but I like fresh legs out there. So
I think there's a lot of times when they're both going to be on the field
yeah,
at the same time. But I just, yeah, Aaron Jones is a top 5 back by himself, but with Dylan there, I just don't see any way. Not
sorry.
not top. What do you have him? Top 3?
Yeah,
Number 3.
Yeah.
But we all have Eckler, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So not much to say. Everyone knows what Eckler is capable of in that offense. Like,
I
not
have
much
to have
to
him.
say. Yeah. He-
And he
keeps
doesn't
it
really
off.
have anyone behind him. Like
No, who they
the guys
draft?
that come in
Isaiah-
behind, like,
Isaiah
Isaiah
Spiller.
Spiller.
but like
Yeah, I'm not worried.
I'm hearing
Yeah,
mixed
it's gonna
reports
be-
out of camp.
that's
No,
gonna be
no. There are a few mixed reports that they want to ease him up, but it's Eckler. Like,
Yeah.
he's the guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, number 2. This is, I'm pretty sure. Do we all have the same 2 and 1, just interchange? Oh, Nick doesn't even have.
Yeah.
Okay, who? All right. Okay, okay. Nick. What do you have at number 2?
Saquon.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I think it's his. I think he probably wins like comeback player of the year. I mean, we already talked about him, so very
Okay,
high in
yeah.
Saquon this year.
Yeah.
And then Corey and Alex
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
same.
CMC.
No, you and I have the same.
Oh, okay. So
CMC.
Corey has CMC.
Yeah, again, 1 and 2 can be changed out. My reasoning for 1 is a little bit different.
Well, just talk about it. We know what they are.
Yeah,
now. You
Yeah,
just say-
one is Taylor, and the reason I had Taylor at 1, because he was the rushing leader last year. He's insane. The one thing that worries about me that maybe the Colts offensive line did slightly decline from last year, but I mean he's so talented, and I think he's going to be used more as a cat, like in the pass catching game. I know Naheem's there, but hearing reports coming out of Colts camp is Naheem's going to be lined up in slot a lot as well. So having them 2 both on the field, and Matt Ryan's a very smart quarterback. Carson Wentz not as much, and I think Taylor gets more checkdowns than he did last year. So those are my 2, and CMC. If he can stay healthy, I mean, we'll see. But man,
So you are only putting Taylor ahead of CMC because you don't think CMC is going to stay healthy, or is it like if you think both stay healthy, you still think Taylor could?
I still think Taylor, because I think what the Colts are doing this year with Naheem, they're going to get him more involved, and I think he's going to be playing slot.
Taylor
Or-
ain't getting 10, 12 targets a game. I'll tell you that much.
He may not, but he also will.
He
run
won't.
For,
I'm telling you, he won't. There's not a
will-
may.
he'll
he will
run
not.
for more yards and more touchdowns than CMC this year.
Okay, we're talking about full PPR here.
I know.
Alex,
Yeah. So
We-
you and I, we've got JT at 2 and CMC at 1.
and I mean, when CMC is healthy, he's been just like a cheat code in fantasy football. Like there's been years like just the CMC team wins the league. Like that's just what happens.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like
Yeah.
the Cooper Cup effect last year a little bit.
yeah.
I don't
some
even have
cases,
CMC
not
in
in
my
all
top
But
cases.
5.
CMC's still blown Cup out of the water.
Yeah. When's the last time CMC's like had a good season? 2018? Come on.
But it does.
Brutal.
He's healthy. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
It's kind of
That's-
like you're calling Ocean City Vegas right now. It just doesn't make any sense.
what you just said didn't make any sense. But anyway, moving on to wide receiver wide receiver.
Yeah.
All right. Starting at number 5.
So we all pretty much have the same 5 and
I'm-
slight variation on the order.
I think I got one unique guy.
You have
I-
one. Nick has one different guy, unless
I'm-
Corey you're changing it up.
I'm kind of
changing-
surprised actually.
Well,
that I
maybe
was
let's just go through each of our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the ones that are a little off, like, oh, that's a surprise guy, or that order is a little weird. So start Nick. What's your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
All right. Devontae 5, CeeDee Lamb number 4, Cooper
Okay.
Cup, Chase, and Justin Jefferson.
Okay, so you need to explain because most people have Cup
Yeah.
number 1, right? Like you need to explain why you have him
Yeah.
third.
New
In
Vikings coach,
PPR.
they're saying they want to go pass heavy. I just like Justin Jefferson. I think it was the last 8 games of the year they had pretty comparable points. So, no, I don't think people give Kirk Cousins enough credit. He's pretty average instead of bad. So I like Jefferson for number 1 this year. I think I'm a little worried about Matt Stafford's elbow more than anything with Cooper Cup. That's why he's at 3, and I don't think it's any disrespect. I think it'll be close between him, Chase, and Jefferson. But I mean, Stafford's known for playing through injuries. It just worries me a little bit at his age on his throwing arm.
So I've got the same top 5, except I've got Diggs at 4 instead of CD. So I've got Devontae at 5, Diggs at 4, Cup at 3, Chase at 2, Jay Jets at 1. And my reasoning for Cup not being 1 is I think Allen Robinson. I'm not worried so much about Stafford's arm. I think Allen Robinson is going to take a decent amount of the passing targets away from Cup and those red zone targets. A-Rob is a big boy. So I think, I mean, I still think Cup it would not shock me if he finished at 1 again, but I just think the way that the Vikings offense is trending, Thielen's getting older, and the amount of skilled position players on the Bengals, just the way that Burrow spreads it around a little bit more. I just think that Justin Jefferson has the best kind of advantage to finish number 1 overall there.
Thielen's like 34.
Yeah.
30.
So
Not
I think he's 32. 32.
He's older.
he's getting old.
Yeah. I
All
mean, he's
right.
still a red
He is
zone
a,
target for sure, but yeah.
I mean,
Corey?
he's
He's not the same
undrafted PP on the training camp. Like they didn't even know you to be a receiver. But anyway, so my 5 go Cup, Chase, Jefferson, Adams, Diggs. Cup at 5. I know that's weird, but again, I think he regresses from. I mean, last year was in like stupid numbers, like stupid numbers.
Wait, you
And-
have Cup at 5?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Because I just
This
think
podcast
again,
in general, like everyone would be like, what is going on? Because everyone universally has Cup at 1.
I understand that, but he's not going to have the exact same season he did last year. There's just,
Right.
I mean, statistically, I mean, he could, but I just don't see that happening, especially with Allen Robinson there. I mean, Cup was even, Robert Woods was there, and Robert Woods got hurt, and Cup still did very well. But I think, I just like Allen Robinson a little bit more. Chase at 4, kind of for the same reason. Joey B spreads the ball out. You'll get those games where Chase has the 2 to 3 touchdowns and like the 75-yard catch. Like that's going to happen, but I just don't think it's as consistent as we'd like to see it to be, as to move him up higher. Jefferson, I mean, again, he could be number 1 as well, but it's just his quarterback could let him down. I think that's the biggest issue. Like Nick said, Kirk Cousins is average, and
You just got to look up how many primetime games the Vikings play and just know Jefferson's just not going to have good games in those games, or if it's Monday Night Football.
You just need to jet sweep it to him like every play.
Yeah.
Primetime Kirk is not it.
And then I have Adams at 2. I don't think Adams. I mean, yeah, he goes from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, but he's still going to get the target share there. I mean, Hunter Renfro and everything, and Waller, but it's Devontae Adams.
Doesn't change how good Devontae is.
Yeah, it doesn't. And then Diggs at 1. If Allen has an MVP like year and finishes the top fantasy quarterback, I know a lot of it can be done with his legs, but he throws the ball a lot, and he's again like insane passer. And I think Diggs, I think he does it this year. I think he gets the number 1 spot.
Are you a Gabe Davis guy at all? I know
No.
he's been getting a lot of.
He's up into the 4th round in fantasy.
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I just
Everyone's just remembering the playoff game.
I still like him a lot, but I
In that
I don't
offense,
like him at where
any
he
receiver.
goes.
Yeah,
So I have 5 Adams, 4 Diggs, 3 Jefferson, 2 Cup, and 1 Chase. So somehow I'm higher than Cup on all of you, even though he's the consensus number 1. But yeah, Chase is probably the biggest one that's different than most, having him at number 1. And yeah, like I said, I think Joe Burrow, fantasy quarterback, probably not top 5. I'm surprised that you don't have Chase number 1 if you have Joe Burrow 2nd in fantasy. Like Chase would have to be catching.
I like
certain
T. Higgins, and I think Tyler Boyd's gonna bounce back.
Well, yeah, I think Chase, like when Corey said about the consistency, I think he's more consistent than last year, putting up those long touchdowns because the offensive line is better, and Chase is going to have more time to get downfield, and I think they connect on even more of those deep balls.
So like 1 a game. At least one a game.
At least, yeah, it could be one, whatever. Like
That's
he's
enough. That's probably
he's
enough
going-
to get to one.
He's going nuclear. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL, and he will show it this season. So
Not bad.
I think I was the only one with CD Lamb though. Kind of
I,
surprised.
I
that he-
had Lamb over Adams actually. I had Adams 6 and Lamb 5, but
Yeah. I mean,
moved
quick
Adams back.
discussion on this. I think if Dak Prescott puts up, even this is a bad year for him, 3,500 yards, who's getting that? I think that
I would say
like
I would
CeeDee
say
could have,
Lamb
like-
is definitely getting between 1,000 to 1,500. Then you're
I
gonna
think he
have
could go up to 2,000 yards. Like they literally have no one else besides Dalton Schultz.
Dak would have
catch
to be
the ball.
throwing for over 4,000 to hit.
I mean, They pulled Tony Pollard like into the slot. I mean,
They
I
still
know,
have
I
Schultz.
can't see
They
it.
still have guys they drafted.
The
Gallup.
defense is going to know that though too, right? Like a defense is going to double him quite a bit more than they
Yeah.
could if Ari was there.
I think like Dak is good enough to where he makes like any receiver out there good, like Cedric Wilson, not Cedric Wilson.
He was
it was.
there. Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
there.
yeah, he was there.
Michael Gallup.
Yeah, Michael Gallup. Like he'll be back eventually. But I think in the meantime, it's just going to be like, I think like Zeke and Pollard, they're going to go like more run heavy, but I think CD is just going to get like
gonna get peppered.
200 targets.
He's gonna get peppered.
Yeah.
All right. Last category, tight ends.
We should probably do the same thing because it's the same type of setup as wide receivers.
It's always like it's the same 5 pretty much, but just
Yeah.
different order.
Nick's
I'll
got an
go-
outlier again, but that's it. Go ahead.
I'll go-
Nick,
I'll
Nick
first
has some
here.
weird like Nick's lists are.
I like it. We gotta
weird
get
to
some
see.
variability.
All right.
I mean,
so
at
for,
the same time, like, are we ever picking the same players in the same positions like year after year? Like, pretty rare. So
that's true.
no one
All right.
saw JT and Cup going 1-2 last year. So
I saw Taylor going 1.
you probably did. Go Colts, right?
For the Colts.
I think I was the only one who had Dalton Schultz, though. I
right.
think it's the same thing I was
At
saying
5?
with targets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go Nick. Go
So
first.
go through your list.
yeah. I had Dalton Schultz, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and Kyle Pitts is number 1. He's basically just a wide receiver for Kyle
Stealing my
Pitts.
thunder on Pitts there.
Yeah. No, I'm on board. I think I saw his talent last year, and like if you watched him play last year and still don't think he's going to be better than Travis Kelce, like you should probably watch some more football.
I don't disagree.
I
Yeah.
totally disagree. Pitts at 5 for me, Waller at 4, Kittle 3,
Pitts at 5.
Andrew 2, Kelsey 1. Pitts, put Pitts on Josh Allen's team, Mahomes' team, and yes, I would agree with you.
That's fair.
I'm not.
I see what you're saying.
Pitts he's going to be handcuffed by the quarterback. I mean,
Do you
yes,
understand what
he's-
Delaney Walker did?
BB, I don't care what Delaney Walker did with Marcus Mariota 5 years ago. Like,
That's
I
why I
don't
love
care.
CMC so much. He's like living 5 years ago.
it's fine. Like that's totally fine.
You
Marcus
know
Mariota's not
who
this-
Kyle Pitts is compared to Delaney Walker? At age 32, Delaney Walker.
I don't care. I don't care. And so I
You're
can
not
see
even.
it.
Have you watched Kyle Pitts play football?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
Go,
That's
the
at number
upside-
5, that's just like
no
incredible.
one else has that much
No.
upside, in my opinion, at this position.
Yeah, he's a
even
wider.
George
He's like
Kittle.
when we talk about cheat codes at each position. I guess Cup was the cheat code last year, but it's like CMC, Josh Allen, wide receivers tough because they all have. It was
There's a
Cup
couple
last year,
cheat codes.
but at tight end, like Pitts is the cheat code at tight end this year.
okay. Well, we shall see because Kelsey's been that cheat code.
He
every
has
single
been.
year.
He was. You're right.
And he still has the same quarterback. He has not lost a step. He's totally the same player as he was last year and the year before.
Just a year older,
Just a
now
year older.
33.
It doesn't matter. He's consistent, and that's what you need out of fantasy tight end consistency. There could be very well Pitts could go for like 30 points in like 1 or 2 games, but I don't think it's not going to be consistent enough to give him the number 1 spot. That's just me. I'm not saying next year won't be different. I'm just saying this year, it's Marcus Mariota throwing the ball. Last year he had Matt Ryan at least, who's actually kind of competent enough to throw the football and
He throws downfield more than Mariota. Mariota likes to target.
Corey, I agree with you though. My list went Kittle, Waller, Andrews, Pitts, and Kelsey. I think the biggest differentiator with Kelsey this year is no Tyreek. So I think he's going to see more short passes, more balls up the middle than he did when Mahomes was able to take deep shot after deep shot with Tyreek. I just think it lends more target share for Kelsey. And, he's always that red zone threat on top of that. So,
Yeah. I mean, I have Kelsey second, so it's not like I don't like Kelsey, but I have Waller 5, Andrews 4th, Kittle 3rd, Kelsey 2nd, and Pitts 1. And I've already talked about Pitts because Nick and I both have him number 1. But yeah, I just think Kelsey's age makes him regress a bit, and he's going to get more double coverage than years past.
Why do you guys like Darren Waller still? I don't even know if I like him in my top 10. I'm
Because
starting
of
to
the
think-
Raider, I think the Raiders won't make the playoffs and all that, but I still think their offense will be better. I think they could be in some high scoring games that they lose.
pass heavy.
Yeah.
And they're going to be super pass heavy, and Waller's going to
Yeah.
be the main red zone guy.
Devontae is going to take a ton of attention off of him.
I think he's going to take all the red zone targets personally.
I disagree. I think Adams loses a lot of that because Rodgers loved that, but that doesn't mean that's how the Raiders are going to operate. Like what who did the Packers have that was like Waller? Like Adams was their best red zone threat.
Yeah.
The other
Waller's-
thing too is McDaniels loves his tight ends.
Yeah. I just think Devontae is very good at getting open too. Like
Waller's
especially
touchdown
under-
upside this year is insane.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if you're in the red zone, I think Devontae Adams is getting open before Darren Waller.
Disagree.
And Derek Carr is probably going to hit the open guy first. So that's what I'm kind of basing it on. I think he's going to be more of a one-hit wonder for me than he is going to be a consistent top 5 guy, honestly. So
Well,
I mean, Devontae is going to take his target shares, red zone. I don't know. I just don't think he's going to break out this year.
Yeah.
I don't see
Sounds
it.
like you're higher on the Cowboys offense than the Raiders offense for sure. With
Yeah, way easier division, and I think like it's Dalton Schultz, Tony Pollard, and CeeDee Lamb are going to get the most passing work. So
well, I mean, Nick, your list definitely was the most odd out of I think all of us. That's for sure.
yeah, I'm excited to come back to this at the end of the year and we'll see how we did.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, guys,
all
never
we'll
stay,
tell.
like it's never like the same top 5 year over year. Like you got to mix it up.
True.
It's never who you
I
expect.
none of us have the same top 5, so we just didn't go as crazy as you did.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
a little chalky on your side, PB. CMC, come on.
he is not liked by many, let's just say that. All right, well, that will do it for this first episode of the fantasy football formula. And don't know what is our next hot takes. We're going to give you some of our hottest takes for the fantasy football season. So that'll be next episode, and until next time, see you later.